guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for, I think it's the 3 weeks preceding March 26th. At this point, I'm going to be honest, I think Stacking the Shelves might become a monthly video. I'm just, again, way too busy studying for my patent bar exam and busy doing other things, like we were on vacation and stuff like that. So I really didn't get a lot of books in the last 3 weeks. I have 4 to go through here. 2 are for review and 2 I borrowed from the library. The first one that I did get for review is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. Kingfisher is an author I really started reading the end of last year and early this year, and I've been super into her as an author. She is amazing. She does amazing fantasy stories, and I'm actually reading Nettle and Bone right now and really loving it. I'm about 80% of the way through. It has a very dark classic fairy tale feel to it and some humor, and it's just very well written. That I got through NetGalley to review, and it comes out April 26th, so next month, not too far away. And then the second one I got to review is Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin, which is a contemporary fantasy about witches. I believe she wrote another witch one about nature and witches, or witches who control nature, something that I enjoyed. This one doesn't come out until August 2nd, and I also got this one through NetGalley, so looking forward to reading that. Then I did borrow 2 from the library. One I've already read, and that is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. She also wrote Enchanted as the Raven or something like that, which was really good. I enjoyed, so I ordered Sorcery of Thorns. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. It's about a young woman who is a librarian, and the librarians in this world take care of grimoires that are living books. So they're monstrous living books that you need to take good care of, or they literally turn into monsters. And she gets blamed for the murder of the head librarian and ends up in this whole thing. So there's a lot of magic, and I really like the concept of these libraries full of these monstrous books that they're taking care of. It did start a little bit slow though, so we ended up getting 4 out of 5 stars. The second book I borrowed from the library is Wrath and Mercy, which is the second book in the Bright and the Pale duology by Jessica Rubinkowski. This was very much like an adventure fantasy type of story, so I'm eager to see how things wrap up. And that's what I got for books over the last few weeks. I think the last time I did a Stacking the Shelves, let me look here, was the end of February, so it has been about a month. And that's just how it's going to be. You're going to see back here is my study guide and everything for the patent bar I'm studying for, along with all my post-it notes. So I am working on that, and of course I am still doing a new job. We were down in Florida last week, and it was okay. It's the first time we've flown since COVID, and it's not incredibly pleasant to fly with a mask on. It's not awful, but I always get super dehydrated, and I kind of motion sick when I'm flying, and having a mask on, it was making me hot and not allowing me to drink a lot of fluids didn't help the whole situation. And then the weather in Florida wasn't super cooperative. We spent the first 3 days down in the Florida Keys with my parents. They are at an RV park there. We actually rented a cottage down in that park, which wasn't awesome. It was super expensive, and it was just not very clean, not very well built. We had problems with windows rattling and faucets leaking, and there were dead bugs in the fridge. Just kind of all in all, not a great experience for us. And then the weather was not very good. It was really windy and 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. So you couldn't really do much outside, and it got super cold one night. It was having wind chills down to the 30s and 20s, which it was warmer in Minnesota at that point. It was 40 in Minnesota. And then a whole bunch of storms were coming through and stuff. So the first few days was not great. We did have a nice day down in Key West. The weather was pretty good for that. And then we moved to Naples, Florida, up kind of closer to the Fort Myers area, and that was a little bit better, but then it got super hot. So then it was in the mid 90s. So we were getting pretty uncomfortable spending time outside just because, we're not used to that hot of weather. We did do a fan boat ride, which was really fun. And we went to the Thomas Edison and Henry Ford Winter Estate, which I would recommend. That was really very interesting. And then we just spent a day like at an arcade and watching movies and stuff like that. It was just so hot out that we didn't want to spend a lot of time hiking at state parks and stuff. We did some hiking in the Everglades and at the Big Cypress National Preserve and stuff like that. And it was fine, but it was just hot. And, you get all sticky and gross, and there's a lot of bugs. And there were a lot of really big spiders. Not the no new Joro spiders. We found out they're just like golden orb spiders, but they're like spiders. And we just got sick of it. So, yeah, it was okay. It was nice to get away and do something. I definitely wouldn't put it in my top 10 vacations or anything, but I'm not going to complain. I got to take a week off of work and do something different. I really haven't been minding all the road trips we've been doing. I wish we had a little bit more time to do stuff like that so we could go further away. I like doing road trips. I like being in the car and driving the car, and I'm not very fond of flying. It's just such a rigmarole, right? Like, we went Delta, and Delta's great. Our plane left Minneapolis like maybe 30 or 40 minutes late, but wasn't a big deal. They actually ended up catching up on the time, so we didn't get there late or anything. The way back was a lot rougher. Again, we left on time, no big deal, but there were a lot of little kids on the flight, and pretty much 5 or 6 of them screamed the whole flight, which I feel awful for their parents and stuff. There was one family I didn't feel too bad for because they were kind of asking for it. They weren't treating the kids very well, and they weren't very well prepared. But anyways, and then one of the kids so we ended up in a lot of turbulence, and one of the kids got really sick. And I think ended up puking all over the place because like the whole row, like a few rows behind us, got kind of evacuated, and they were all in the thing and they were trying to clean it up. And then, yeah, so that sucked. And then both my son and husband, even though they had like, my husband kind of got the worst of it. He had a guy in front of him that was putting his seat back, and even when we were taking off and stuff, the flight attendant kept coming by and told him to put his seat up, and he kept putting it back. So he had his seat back like the whole flight, even when we were taking off. And then both my husband and son had adults behind them, but the adults kept kicking their seat. And we're not really sure why. It wasn't like there were little kids kicking the seat. It was adults kicking. So the flight home felt really long. And I actually didn't have it too bad. Like nobody was kicking my seat or anything, but it was just very turbulent, lots of screaming, puking, general, and it's just kind of a deal, right? Like it's always a deal traveling. So like you get back to the airport at Minneapolis and you have like a 15-minute walk to baggage claim, and then you wait for your bag, and then you go over and you take the tram to the light rail, and then we take the light rail to Terminal B, and then we take our hour drive home from so it's like once you land, you still have like 2.5 hours before you get home. So it was a good reminder to me of how little I miss traveling. Like I don't miss it a whole lot. It's fun to go somewhere else, and it was nice to be warm for a while, but I don't miss it a whole lot. Another funny thing on the vacation is a lot of my son's friends will go to like these all-inclusive like warm places, right? And there's some stuff to do there, but we don't generally do that because it's kind of boring. My husband and I feel like it's kind of boring. So my son's like greatest desire on this vacation was to go to a nice beach and spend a day at a nice beach. And I'm like, dude, you're going to be bored. Like, I know you're going to be bored. It's going to be hot. You don't love swimming in the ocean. So no. So we did. We went to a nice beach, we actually went out to Tiger Tail Beach, and you can kind of walk there down to the ocean beach. And so we did that. Beautiful beach. The weather was decent. It was like 90. I am not hugely fond of swimming in the ocean, so I just kind of read out on a towel, and my husband's son went out and swam some. But like 30 or 40 minutes in, my son's like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, well, I thought you wanted to spend the day on the beach. Oh, this is kind of boring. I'm like, yep. We're just not the kind of family that goes and like sits on a beach and drinks, or you can like swim for a while and throw a ball around for a while, and then that's kind of it, So anyways, that was kind of funny, and it was interesting to watch my son realize that a beach vacation, like if you're just going to go lay on the beach and drink and eat and swim in the ocean, then, that's what it is. So it was fun. And now I'm pretty much caught up for work. It took me a few days to get caught up. I'm still studying, and it feels like that's going on forever. I'm going to ease up a little on the studying, I think, for a few days because I'm feeling a little burnt out about it. Um, but yeah, and oh, I guess the other thing to mention is my work did open up again. So the way 3M was set up, they have different phases, and they were at the phase where like the lab people could go back in. So I was a lab person until the end of November, so I was going in a few days a week. And then I switched to this legal intellectual property job, and then I wasn't. I was considered just a business person basically. So I wasn't allowed to go back onto campus, but they just opened up 3M campus again as of mid-March. So I have a new office, and I went in yesterday, and it was kind of nice to see people and chat with people in person. But it's pretty dead. Like there aren't a lot of people who are coming in very regularly. So it makes me wonder, like 3M has this huge campus. It makes me wonder how much of that campus they're going to continue to maintain. Anyways, that's about it. Everybody's doing good. My son started his last trimester of his freshman year, and he is starting driver's ed, so that's exciting. Husband's still working remotely, and we're just kind of doing our thing. So anyways, that being said, I know I usually say I do Wendy's every Wednesday and Saturday. I'm just going to say at this point that that's not going to happen for a while, probably the rest of the year. And maybe I'll get back to it later, but I'm taking a break because I was feeling a little bit stressed and burnt out trying to balance like studying for this course and hockey season and everything. So, and we are almost done with hockey season. I don't know if hockey season ever really ends. We kind of go from like intense hockey season to like less intense hockey season over the summer. But yeah, my son is just going to be doing something once a week for hockey once we get to April. So that's good. And that's about it. So I hope that you guys got a lot of great books this month and that you had a great week of reading. And I'll probably do a best books in March post. Maybe I'll post next Saturday or something. And then I probably won't do an Our Stack in the Shelves until the end of April. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.